Hey, what's going on, team? It's Ricky with Tactical Solutions. Hope that you guys are all having a good start to your day. So why is the stock market going up? And I wanted to share something that is actually doing very well today. So I'm going to start sharing my screen. I hope that you learned something new. And if you do, I hope that I earn your thumbs up on this video and maybe even subscribe. Uber reported earnings today, up 17.5%. I wanted to show you guys what their expectation was and what they actually reported. Their earnings per share, which is their EPS, was negative 0.05. They reported negative 0.03. So still a surprise of a 40% above what was expected. Revenue was expected to be 7.37 billion. They reported over 8 billion. This was a surprise of 9.5%. It's also not just Uber that is doing well. It's also Lyft. One thing that you'll notice very often is that companies that are in very similar industries, if one reports prior to the other, they can influence one another. Now, it doesn't mean that Lyft, when it reports earnings this Thursday, that it's going to be or do good. It's just based off of the expectation that Uber has now set for Lyft. Lyft is rising in consequence. With that being said, one thing that I do want to remind you is that one green day does not define an overall market recovery. Even Uber and Lyft are still trading below the moving average, lower highs, lower lows. One thing that you'll see very often is that even after earnings, the stock will shoot up, right? And then shortly after, it will correct itself, bringing it back down to overvalued levels because of whatever was shared during that earnings report. So please make sure that you don't allow just one day to determine a long-term position, right? I think that's what's most important. And one thing that I want to follow up with is, why is the stock market rising today? I'm sure a lot of you guys have that question. I mean, I want to talk about Amazon very quickly. Amazon just reported that it's going to be shrinking its staff by 100,000. Joining Google and Apple in tech slowdown. Now, the other times that Google and Apple announced this, those tech stocks tanked, but yet Amazon is rising. This is the part that doesn't make sense now, because I do agree that if things are not getting worse, then the market can rise, because then that means that it's not that they're getting better, they're just simply not getting worse. Amazon shrinking their workforce by 100,000 is a pretty significant move. Yes, I'm sure it's to readjust their balance sheet, just to cut out some of those expenses of, maybe not as needed employees. But nonetheless, they're still shrinking their staff. And that is never a positive catalyst. Yet we are still seeing the market rise. Buying pressure is insane right now. Now, a lot of people are talking about this being a bull trap, meaning that it's rising for a short period of time following up last week's earnings week and the FOMC meeting. But of what's to come, they think that we're going to have another leg of selling pressure and potentially making new lows. I'm still not sold on the idea that we're going to completely sell off. I think that we can all agree that, if you look at the 1 hour time frame, even on Amazon, we just have to get a little bit closer. Things are very overbought. Amazon hasn't made any progress since it reported earnings. It's been trading sideways around this area. And I think that based off of previous patterns, and every time that it rises, it tends to correct itself. It's only a matter of time. Now, it's not that it's going to happen this week or maybe next week, but we all know that anytime something prolongs the time that it actually takes for that stock to pull back, that just means the time that it actually does pull back, it's going to pull back even harder. So I just hope that whatever position it is that you choose to take, regardless if it's a short-term or long-term play, just make sure that the dollar amount that you have invested is something that's well balanced, that you can tolerate it at worst case scenario, and hopefully you have enough money on the sidelines, cash, that you can actually be able to pick it up for a cheaper price if it were to pull back. I think that's one of the worst feelings, feeling that you're fully invested, and when the market pulls back, there's nothing that you can do. If anything, you could potentially get margin called if you have a margin account. So please do not put yourself in a tough position while things are still uncertain. We're still really hoping for the market to show progress of a recovery, but it's still in the very early stages. So let's not forget about that. One of the last things that I do want to remind you is that AMD, if I'm not mistaken, and Starbucks and PayPal all report earnings after market hours today. So these two big tech stocks and Starbucks report earnings today after the market closes. So if you see any fluctuation in some of your positions, it might be because some of these three big stocks just reported earnings, and they could act as either a positive or negative catalyst for those stocks, which can move other markets as well. I just want to make sure that you're aware so you can prepare in advance, right? I really do appreciate you guys' time. Just wanted to provide you guys with a quick little stock market update. If you guys have any questions, you guys know that I respond to all of my direct messages via Discord. Even if you're an absolute beginner, even if you've never traded before. If you have any questions that you can't find the answer to on Google, the first link in the description of this video is my free Discord chat, and I encourage you to message me, and yes, it is for free. If you want the ability to watch me trade live every morning, just like my Learn Plan Profit group, they're the only team that I work with on a closer basis. Take 2 minutes, click the second link down below, learn a little bit more about it, and see if it's a good fit for you, and maybe I'll see you in tomorrow's live session. Like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take it easy, team.